This is the 2023 Triumph Street Triple RS, and Triumph says this is the most powerful, most agile and most electronically advanced Street Triple yet. Now, if you look back at the history of Street Triple, it was incepted in 2007, and with every generation change, Triumph has managed to improve the bike on certain fronts. I remember when we had ridden the predecessor of the motorcycle, it had really taken aback in terms of how capable it was, especially in terms of the racetrack riding, especially the top spec RS model. Now, with Triumph claiming that the motorcycle is better on almost all fronts, we had to verify their claim, and for that, we are at the Jerez racetrack in Spain. I'm Anuj, welcome to BikeWale, welcome to the track ride review of the 2023 Triumph Street Triple RS. Aesthetically, the Street Triple RS has always been more of a svelte athlete than a jacked up bodybuilder, and this trait of the bike has been intensified further in the 2023 iteration. While the bug-eyed headlamp has been carried forward, it has been chiseled more to look sharper, as has been the fuel tank area. The radiator cowl, fuel tank and extensions have been redesigned to look sleeker and more aggressive. Even the front fly screen has been replaced with a tiny cowl under which there's a larger air intake now. At the rear, the tail section gets a cowl as standard, but it can be replaced with a pillion seat. Now, talking about the hardware changes, the most significant changes have been done to the internals of the engine. So now you get a more optimized combustion chamber. Now you get higher compression ratio, you get new pistons, new camshaft, new valves. And Triumph has also revised the gearing of the motorcycle. The final drive ratio is a little different. So now you get a taller first gear, and from second gear onwards, the gearing is shorter. So you get better roll-on acceleration and punchier exit, let's say, out of corners. And apart from that, the exhaust has also been revised a little bit, and the handlebar is wider by 12 mm. The front brake has been changed. Now it gets Brembo Stylema calipers, top-notch spec, and the previous one had Brembo M50 calipers. To make it more nimble and responsive, Triumph has made the rake steeper while slightly raising the rear section. Feature-wise, there's a new customizable riding mode called Rider, which joins preset rain, road, sport and track modes. As per the selected mode, the throttle response and electronic intervention vary, while in rain mode, the power delivery goes down to 99 bhp with all the safety aids working in full swing. There's a new wheelie control as well, but it is not an independent system and works in tandem with the traction control system. Now, Triumph has also tweaked the electronics package of the motorcycle in terms of the way cornering, ABS and traction control behave. Now they are more optimized, and Triumph says they feel less intrusive. The rest of the bike largely remains untouched. It rides on 17-inch Marchesini wheels that are shod with Pirelli Supercorsa tires and suspended by fully adjustable Showa big piston forks up front and Öhlins at the rear, both being fully adjustable. All the information of the bike can be monitored and ample parameters can be tweaked on a 5-inch TFT screen. Other features include heated grips, a bi-directional quick shifter as standard and adjustable levers. So let's see how the motorcycle fares on the Jerez racetrack. As I sat on the bike and rolled out of the pits, I could sense the welcoming character the bike offers in terms of throttle response and steering feel. Never does it intimidate you if you want to go easy. A few warm-up laps and I started pushing, only to greet the hooligan it beautifully masks. With every consecutive corner, my confidence level went on increasing. It allows you to tip into corners aggressively while maintaining sheer composure. Once tipped in, holding a desired line, adding more speed, or correcting your line is surprisingly doable. And at the exit, if you want to go gung-ho with the throttle, the front leaves the ground, drops back, and carries on without twitching or wobbling whatsoever. And despite being a novice track rider, I could add more lean angle with every consecutive lap while being aware that I wasn't even close to the limit of its handling envelope. While the handling of the RS truly boggled my mind, the engine of the bike is equally addictive and satisfying. The 765cc inline triple motor is an engineering gem in the sense that it feels extremely smooth and friendly, but it can also unleash a ferocious beast when you want it to. In the first session, I started in road mode, which offers slightly milder throttle response and more electronic intervention than most other modes except for rain mode. In the initial laps, I was taking a lot of second or third gear corners in fifth or sixth gear, but the drive out of bends never felt lethargic. The torque delivery, even from 3000 rpm, is generous, and on the straights, I could go as recklessly as touching 200 kmph in fifth gear without the engine feeling stress whatsoever. In the second session, I gathered all the courage and put the bike in track mode, which offers the least electronic intervention and most aggressive throttle response amongst other preset modes including rain, road, sport and track. For seasoned riders, there is a configurable rider mode as well. So, track mode scared me at times since I was completely relying on electronics in the road mode earlier. It was only after scarily sliding my rear due to jerky throttle input while coming out of a tight corner that I realized track mode is lesser forgiving. However, after familiarizing myself with this mode, I went on taking the corners in the right gear, redlined the engine at some places, with noob wheelies being an added bonus. Complementing the wholesome motor is the slick and crisp quick shifter. Before every corner, the auto blipper allowed me to stomp down the gears without using the clutch hastily, without missing the shifts ever. And upshifting while picking up speed felt equally seamless and accurate. Another star of the show was the Brembo brakes. The bite from them is unbelievably strong. I kept shocking myself in the initial laps by applying more pressure on the lever than needed. However, as my judgment about the bite and lever feel improved, I could confidently brake way late into the corners and at times even mid-corner to correct my line. And adding to its braking prowess were the Pirelli rubbers, which for me delivered a level of grip and feedback that were far off my capabilities to find the limit of. Triumph had set up the suspension of these test bikes specifically for track use, and this Olin Showa combo felt remarkably taut and perfectly damped for the track. Even under profound hard braking, the nosedive was minimal, and the setup never responded sloppily under clumsy acceleration and steering inputs. Now talking about the ergonomics of the motorcycle, with the seat height of 836 mm, the motorcycle is not very difficult to get on, so it should be comfortable to get on even for shorter riders. And with the fuel tank design change, now it is much more narrower, so you can very easily grip onto the fuel tank, and with the handlebar being 12 mm wider, it gives you more commanding riding position, and even on the road it should give you better leverage. Now the seat height can be lowered. There is aftermarket seat available, and the suspension can also be lowered by about 20 mm, 28 mm, but that can be done through dealer only. The only challenge was fighting the extreme wind blast, which would rise to fatigue-inducing levels from as low as 120 to 130 kmph of speeds. After a few minutes, this caused my shoulders and arms hurt a bit. Also, the layout of information visible on the TFT screen was slightly difficult to read. At times, I was struggling to spot the tachometer to see the revs I was riding at due to its small size and complicated placement. Moreover, if you are a rider skilled enough to be wanting to ride the bike with ABS completely off, there is no provision for that. The 2023 Triumph Street Triple RS felt absolutely marvelous on the Jerez track. Now, in terms of handling, in terms of engine performance, in terms of the way electronic intervenes, the stopping performance and the suspension behavior, everything felt on point. So I started my sessions in road mode, where the bike's electronic intervention are a little more than track mode, which I tried on later, and the throttle was crisp, but not ballistic to the extent that it would scare me. But in the consecutive session, when I gained more confidence with the motorcycle, I tried track mode, when the throttle felt very sharp, the electronic intervention was much lesser, and the bike really came together pretty well on the track in track mode. So with the 2023 Street Triple RS, I feel Triumph has done a brilliant job, especially if you are someone who wants to take it to the racetrack pretty often. The only, and now I'm nitpicking, the only niggle I found was the wind blast. Whenever I was crossing about 140-150 kmph of speeds, the wind blast was way too much and I had to hang on to the bars very tightly. Otherwise, apart from that, the motorcycle was beautiful, very well engineered motorcycle, and I feel if Triumph gets the pricing right, which have not been announced yet, this is a very desirable motorcycle.